And there you go. So I'll start with GU. I think this was the earliest one in the week that hit, I think. Yeah, early hours Monday morning, really. I think I covered this on one of my last live sessions, actually. Or I've spoken to someone about it, but it starts off with a trend line in here, or a couple even, and then obviously there's a liquidity sweep in here. I've got the 4-hour candle max, as you can see. I'll just zoom in a touch so you can see. Yeah, 4-hour candle. That's basically the liquidity sweep. Basically, so I'll just bars replay too much so people see it. So obviously price does it breaks structure after the liquidity sweep, which I don't want it to be under here, and it does obviously. It creates liquidity under here as well. Sweeps that basically. Price obviously I'd have had an alert on the bottom of this box here. Once it sort of like comes back into the zone. So my alert would have gone off at that point there. And then I'd come, obviously I'm on the 15-minute time frame. I'd jump back and find the most recent low, which I would have been under here, I believe. I'm sort of doing this sort of like on the spot, so if I get it wrong, I do apologize. 15 minutes. Now that it's created a new high, I've moved my low to there. Pardon me. Reset the alerts at this breaker structure. And obviously we get a body close below this now. A good sign that it is a relevant low is these wicks here. It's because obviously price is coming down, hitting a zone in here, so somewhere. If you have that zone, it's hitting the zone and it's rejecting away. Obviously, so it's not guaranteed that it's a valid zone, but it's just a good indication. Seeing this and then it closing below, and you get this big rejection again, big push down. I see that quite regularly. It's a good little sign that you're at the right sort of areas if you're waiting for breaks of structure and things like that. Obviously now it's closed below the 15. What I'd have marked as the 15-minute low. What are you doing? Sorry, bear with me a sec, lads. There you go. Yeah, so once it's broken below the 15, would be drawing the box from the wick high, and then I'd be finding the first point of imbalance, which is just under here. I only draw my boxes after the structures, never before, so I don't come back to the chart and think that something might come into this box and break structure on the 1 minute. But if it hadn't broke the 15, I'm not looking to get a trade off that zone. But I'll just zoom in so you can see that. There's a little bit of tiny bit of imbalance in here. I'll draw a box. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, just fire away. But yeah, obviously there's imbalance there. There's a tiny bit in here, obviously. it gets filled with this before it breaks any structure. So that's null and void. See, it's covered. Yeah, so obviously because it breaks below here, anything that's covered before it comes back up is void. So it goes from here straight across to here. Then we start looking down this leg, and like I say, there's a tiny bit of imbalance.
How come you don't go to the bottom of the imbalance? How come you only go to the start of it?
This is a very good question, mate. So I used to. I'm sort of changing slightly, or I'm gonna when I get some time, I'm gonna start back testing a little thing that I've started to possibly notice. It might be the cause of why I miss some trades. And this isn't a very good example, but what you sometimes get in, say, like in here, obviously this is a big push up, and it might show on the lower time frames. I'll have a look soon, but what I think's happening is somewhere in here there'll be like a candle that's almost a rejection candle, and then it's usually followed by a big push up. It's sort of better on here. The buy to take liquidity starts around about here. Do you know this candle here? Can you see that? So
Yeah.
What happens a lot of the time is I think price is possibly, obviously I've always gone to the end of imbalance. I've always done it from, say, there, if that was my zone.
Yeah.
But what I think is actually tapping is possibly to something in here. Obviously, if that was here, I think we spoke about this in the week. I know it looks like there's imbalance in here as well. Sorry, I'm touch off topic. Looks like there's a tiny bit of imbalance in there. But what I always do, just as a precaution, is I always drop to the 10-minute because it's close by. And if you look on the 10-minute, you can see that this wick here covers any imbalance. This doesn't show on the 15. So
yeah.
This is why. And I only check the 10. I'll maybe check the 30 as well sometimes, because obviously I've got the 15 and the two either side of it are the 30 and the 10. But the 10's are obviously a lot closer, so it'll show a little bit different. But not always. So obviously here it looked like there's imbalance in here. But yeah, obviously because the 10 minutes a little bit better, it shows a bit closer to what I'm looking. So this is why I didn't include this in the 15-minute zone. So it looks balanced there, but on the lower, because obviously on the I mean, if we were to look at this on the 1 minute, like that's where we would start seeing more and more imbalance. So if we see less imbalance on a lower time frame, then I'm going to assume that the lower time frame is more accurate because there's more candles to show imbalance, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I didn't include this imbalance here. Just had a quick flick just to see if anything stood out on the 10 minutes to the 15. So with this one, obviously, now that it's broken structure, obviously I've drawn my box. I've set an alert on this, the open of this box here, and literally just wait until price comes and tags in it. Pretty quickly. Sometimes they happen extremely quick. Sometimes they're a bit longer. It's just one of them things. You just sometimes got once you hit the 1 minute anyway, you'd ideally start to be around a bit at the screen a bit more. So yeah, let's touch the zone anyway. obviously I think I must have had this as a 1 minute breaker structure. No, yeah, yeah. So for me, structure here, obviously I'd have had it in markers here. So you've got an up, creates a low, high, breaks it under here, confirms this. So I just take that back a touch. So obviously once it's broken under here, and again it's just wick high to the start of imbalance. There might be something on here in the 30-second or 15 now, like the look of or something like that, but it's not that important for this. It's the rest of the process is what is obviously class as important. At this point, so my pending would be set on this here. Roughly 3 pip. I'd have maybe done a bit more actually. With what I do is I mark my zones, and then I allow for spread on the end here. I feel if price breaks the zone that I mark up, especially if it's the wick high, I class it as an invalid trade anyway. So I'm not too bothered if it breaks the zone and I just sort of like if it was to just keep me in, obviously I'd be happy, but I'd still class it as a sort of an invalid trade, I guess. And there you go, and it'll tap me in, and then it does its thing.
Well, everyone you've shown me has seemed to be like a minimum of like 1 to 10 at least. Are they usually always that sort of big trades?
Yeah, I mean the large majority are some. I mean, I do get the odd. I do get the odd ones that are like the odd 1 to 7, 1 to 8s, and things like that. A lot of it obviously will depend on the currency pairs. So JPY pairs tend to have a slightly bigger stop loss just for the fact that it's how they play out on the 1 minute candle. I think because they move quite quick, the candles printed are bigger, I guess. But obviously we're talking tiny stop losses as well. I mean, that's nearly a 1 to 12 to here. It's 40 pips, so it's not on like a banker's move. It's not the massive move. But what I'm achieving here is I'm trying to catch the bigger moves with the tiny entries, which is why I work from the 4 hour to the 15 to the 1, because it just eliminates imbalance. Hopefully, takes liquidity, and then obviously it's created it beforehand originally. So just go back to the original point of interest. So obviously it creates liquidity with your trend lines, suckers people into early sells, things like that. So it creates liquidity, takes it, and then obviously because we've gone to the imbalances, it's balanced in the market, balanced in the books, and then it does its thing. Whether that's from the entry, it comes down here for more liquidity or imbalance or to create more, or it goes the other way. It moves on to its next job once it's filled or it's done its last part of filling the imbalance. And obviously we're hoping that it's in our favor. So ideally it'd be with the overall direction. This here, I mean, GU, I would say overall it's bullish. Structure wise, it would be So 4-hour structure, I would be saying now we should be looking for something like that. Something like that. That's what I'd class it. I think. That's what I'd class structure as. So because this has pulled back into this low and quite low into it, I don't think this actually played out of here. I think it's created a 1 minute entry, but it hadn't made it, so it might have gone without it. But structure wise, obviously it's created higher highs, higher lows. So if I was to, obviously this was looking for a sell, but ideally I'd be looking for buys. But it marked out and played out to give me what would have been a for 12 to 1. I'll just play that because I can't remember. I think it breaks the high. Oh, there you go. It looks like it taps that. I didn't even have that. But pretty much taps that zone there perfectly. I wasn't aware of that.
Another one missed.
Yeah. About 6, 7 pips maybe.
I guess when you've got so many marked up, you're going to miss some, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean it's a 15. It would be about 15-1 just in the last couple of hours, mate. Really. But because of the market structure, I mean, if I'd have got in it, I'd have thinking of holding that all the way up to there, maybe. So this is only, if not up here or further. Just like I say, because I'd be looking at it potentially making a new higher high on the 4-hour, but it would be a big hold that. So,
how do you predict that though?
You what, sorry?
How can you predict that it's going to make a higher high and not just?
Well, yeah. So obviously, just based on, I mean, it might not. It might turn around. It might do anything, you know. But even if we look all the way down here, it's created from down here. It has just created. It's just pretty much trended, if you like. Yeah, so if you look at that, it's literally just zigzagged pretty much all the way to the top. So there's no reason why it shouldn't do it here as well. But it's one of them things. Like I said, it will take days, if not weeks, to play out. So it's not something I'd hold that long. I don't think. From here to the low, like nearly a month. So I don't think I'm definitely not comfortable holding for a month.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice, but I'm not there yet. So I'll move on to the next one. Like I say, if anyone else has got any questions, just put it in the chat, guys. I'll answer what I can. I'll cover eurocad. This is another nice one. So sorry, mate. Andy's just asked if I can go over the hour, go from the 4-hour to the 15 to the 1. I'll go over it again on here, on this one, because this is even better trade, to be fair. So I had this area here marked. Sorry, just delete that. So yeah, sorry, I had this 4-hour POI marked. Obviously, I've just covered the wick high to the start of the imbalance. I think there's a little trend line in here. I can't remember why I marked it, but I generally don't prefer the ones that are just below the top. I prefer something in here really, but I marked it and it played out. So from from here, let's say take it to there because it's not top tapped back in. But I would set an alert just at this box, at the open of that box. I'll drop to 15 now. 4 hour point of interest. When it returns, I'm always looking at it on the 15. So just play that out again. So as you can see there, it's touched in here. My alert would have gone off. Blue line alert. Pardon me. As soon as it touches in, obviously my phone would alert. I would come on. I would look at structure. So structure looks to be that. And obviously, I think that's the high that I've got marked up. So it obviously plays about for a bit. But obviously, from here, I'd be looking at it to break under here. This is where I'd have my mark originally. Sorry, pause that. So it creates a new high. Creates a new high just about. So once it creates a new high, I'd set an alert there. And obviously alert there. I prefer this one. I'd even prefer this one. I accept this here because it is technically, it creates a new high, so and it breaks it. But I'd definitely prefer it here, and obviously it does both. If not, I think it might do this one as well. To be fair, once these are broke, I'll just delete this orange box. Once structure is broken, yeah. So it's broke there. As soon as it's broke, because I'd have an alert on these lines here. As soon as it's done, I'd come up here and draw my 15-minute zone from the wick high. Oh, what's going on? I'm not doing that. Oh, give me strength. So yeah, sorry. Wick high to start the imbalance. I'll draw the imbalance again. Lose the imbalance. I go to the end of imbalance, like I say, because I'm expecting this to be filled. And I just see, at the minute, I currently see this as just giving away free space to the market, especially on my entries anyway. I am looking at adding that in me 15-minute zones shortly. I'd maybe be there because it looks like that this candle here, so above here, this is where the buy looks to come in to sweep any liquidity. So looks like we've got some form of liquidity in here. Yeah, for now I think that's where I've got my zone. And again, I'd have my alert set at the open of this box. As soon as it plays out, I think it takes a while to actually play out. Yeah, it does. Let it do his thing. You don't need to faff around. You've got an alert set, so as soon as it hits the box, it does its thing. As soon as it comes to the Obviously, as soon as the alert goes off at the open of the box, we open up on the 1 minute. So with the 15 minute and the 1 minute are the same process, just different time frames. So obviously it hits the alert there. We come back on, we draw some structure points, and obviously it looks like there's a high, a low, creates that. So I'd be looking at it, set a alert at the bottom of there, wanting it to break below that. Obviously creates high. Rats around for however long. Again, I spoke earlier about rejections off this here. I do it happens regularly. That's where I want the body close below this line here. So the body is not the candles. Obviously, it's touched it, touch it, rejected, then breaks it. And then once this is done, obviously I draw basically me entry box, which is again wick high, start of the imbalance. See, wick high, start of the imbalance. Imbalance being there. Yeah. And then obviously we'd set our targets for take profits, which I would jump to the 15 minute on. Obviously I've already got the box marked out, but my first take profit would always generally be the bottom of the first leg to imbalance. So I think my first take profit would have been there. If it broke that, I'd be looking further down here maybe, or in liquidity sweep. So there's like liquidity equal lows down here. So that would possibly be another. It's just below here. So what I'd be looking for, maybe price when it's sweeping liquidity, price is always possible to sweep it into another order block. And then break structure. So yeah, I've definitely taken money off the table here, leave some running to do its thing. But yeah, once it's broke its structure, I'll just let it play out now. It tracks around for a bit, does its thing. Obviously, this is the maximum that it goes before it starts to turn around. And there's that. So, as you can see, obviously, this is a bit of a better trade than the last one, but just about a 4 pip stop loss. I think the actual zones 2.5 pips, a pip and a half for spreads. Yeah, and you get a 28 to 1. Plays out in, obviously there's some holding involved. It'd have been a day at that, holding that at a day. But on the 15 minute, again, it doesn't break any structures up until here anyway. So structure wise, would have maybe been taken out at this point here if would have. If I'd have moved me stop loss to there, we'll do a red one. Yeah, following structure. Once this breaks below these lows, if we'd moved a stop loss to here, or stop profit even, would have maybe been taken out here. But it's, to be honest, this could still go further in the morning. I've got this at point of interest marked anyway, so I'd maybe be hoping it was going to reach somewhere in there anyway. But yeah, not like I say a 28 to 1, and it just fell. It was nice. It was nice watching it go.
Have you ever caught one on the rebound? Taken that one down and then caught the next one at the bottom.
Yeah, I actually have, mate. Yeah, I've got markups. Try your GBP. This might be one of them. It does actually happen quite regularly, to be honest. I'd say quite regularly. It does happen. Regularly might be a bit of a false statement, I guess, but. So this one here, this is one that. So I've got this markup here. I've deleted obviously my point of interest. I'm assuming it's this point of interest in there, but it literally flies down into this and then does its 15-minute break structure into this. I mean that goes a long way, but yeah. Like I say, they do quite regularly go into the other zones. I feel like there's one round it as well. But yeah, so I mean, so other zones are potential targets that I'll look for as well. Just trying to think what else there was that I've looked at. But again, this was another one from this week. Exactly the same thing. 4-hour point of interest, I believe. Wherever is one. Yeah. Liquidity sweep. 4-hour point of interest. Start the imbalance, wick high. And then obviously this breaks 15-minute structures in here. You even get a trade up to it, really. So this one again, mate, was possibly a zone to zone. If you have the balls to hold that for a 400 to 1. And then yeah, obviously this played out yesterday. If you'd have held it again for a day, yesterday for a day, so you got 41 for 1. Can't grumble, just need to start catching them, really. But if anyone's got any questions, do I chuck them in now? Because if not, I'll probably call it a day today, lads. Trying to I'll get to bed soon, up early for work.
I don't think of anything else.
No, I'm always available for messages and that anyway. So if anyone wants to message me, just hit me inbox. I've always got time for the group, so hit me up.
Nice one. Cheers, Lee.
No worries, mate. I'll speak to you, no doubt, tomorrow, mate. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you, mate.